My husband, Don Swope, was the organizing pastor of the First Presbyterian Church of Sebastian. And he came down in February with the first service in March of that year. And the children and I followed in June after we were through with school and the house was built.
In September, I believe it was, of 1986, we were greeted by our neighbor, Bob Morrow, who said, "We've started a new Presbyterian church and you need to come."
Yeah.
We did. We were the last ones to sign up as charter members, I believe, and we did it on the hood of a car down at Strunk Funeral Home. And
Clark, and a charter member of this church with my husband, Jamie. We started with the Roseland Community Center on the very first day. We used to set up chairs for worship. Jamie's parents, Sam and Ruth Clark, were also charter members. They're both gone now, but they were quite an active part of this church. They bought and paid for the first steeple that we had on this building that was destroyed in the hurricane in 2004. To bring very first Sunday in the community center, we had about maybe 20 or 25 people. And Jamie and his dad helped Reverend Swope set up for that service. And my father-in-law made the coffee. And it was wonderful to have Presbyterians right in Sebastian. We were so happy.
Yeah. That was really a really good time, wasn't it?
It was. It really was.
I can remember, one of the things I remember about those early services was that Sam would carry chairs in the trunk of our car all week long, and then we would have to set them up when we arrived because there weren't pews enough there to handle everyone.
I wish Gloria used to be our barker for our auctions. She would help us auction off things. Right, Gloria?
Yep. we had a lot of things going on, didn't we?
And Gloria and I put on an ice cream social one time, remember?
Uh-huh. I wish you had it right now.
Me too.
We had a good church going, didn't we?
We did.
That I remember from very early on were the Spears, Sam and Priscilla, Bob Morrow, Doug Bartholow, Jack Norrie, who was the first clerk of the session, and John Keys were some of the early movers and shakers. And there were quite a number of other people that were really excited about what was going on, because not only was this a new church development, it was an opportunity for newly retired people who were in their 50s and 60s who still had plenty of vim and vigor and energy and so forth to demonstrate and use very successfully the skills that they had obtained in their previous professional lives. And it was an exciting time as we were getting things going, and for folks it was a brand new endeavor, and there was just an air of excitement almost all the time.
It didn't seem like anybody was coming, and then they began to come the last few minutes, and there were 69 there.
Oh my.
I thought that was a really good turnout, and that was the lowest number we had. It moved up into the 70s by the second Sunday, and we didn't have a music instrument, so Jim Saniel and George Boyd, and let's see, one other, three of them led the singing.
I mentioned Fritz Roth.
Oh, Fritz Roth, who built the cross, the wooden cross.
Yes.
Yep.
Just ones was, there was a developer in town that tried to shut down our building. And but once we got that copy of that the streets were extinguished, I went to see the mayor, and he cleared everything up right there. Didn't have to
The other church was the Assembly of God, which had occupied the Strunk, had built the Strunk Funeral Home originally as their worship, place of worship. And they had, shortly before the Sebastian Presbyterian Church was organized, Strunk had bought the property when the Assembly built a new facility out on Roseland Road and moved out of that. Well, they had built a facility and moved out of the property on US 1, which was ideal for the fledgling Presbyterian church to use for from fall of 19, no, I guess it was earlier than that. It was in the late spring of 1986 until we moved into the facility in March of 88. How about the golf lessons on the church grounds? Who remembers that? What was the fellow's name? Bill somebody. He was a golf pro who lived near the entrance to the Sebastian Airport, I believe, on the church grounds early in the mornings, once or twice a week. And this went on for several years. It was certainly a lot of fun for folks to come to the church in town that played golf.
Well, he wanted to do something for the church, and he
Yeah.
said, I've been trying to figure out what it is. And he said, I'd like to give the golf lessons and I'll take up a collection. Well, there was one morning that I came to work, and there were golfers all the way across the church grounds learning to putt.
Of course, if we confess our sins, he, God, is faithful and just and will forgive us our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness.
We remember the good times. We've always been here for each other. We're a loving, caring church, even to this day. And we're carrying on the traditions that were born a long time ago.